going to go one guy by decision, one guy by knockout, one guy by submission. We're going Ismail by decision.
For the winner, Ismail!
Jeff Neal by knockout. Hamzat by sub.
He goes for the neck! He's down!
I love Bo by points this week. I love it. It's my favorite prop. I like span sub.
He's got it. That's tight.
I like Fontoja by rear naked choke. Give me Bryce Mitchell inside the distance. I just bet it, bro. I put it in right now.
And I think round 1-2 plus 135 is a good number. Hey, fight fans, it is Thursday night. You love betting UFC props just as much as we do, so we know where you are. You're right here tuning in with us because we have a breakdown. UFC Vegas 103 this week. It is a 12-fight card from the UFC Apex. It is definitely an Apex card, but as Matty, the man to my left or above me, however you're looking at orientation-wise, says all the time, it's always a good card if we end up winning bets and cashing a cycle parlay. So let's do just that. I'm going to bring in my man, the myth, the long shot legend, Danner, and ask him the question, how I always ask him, how you doing today?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Like I said, it's always a good card if we win. Last week was weird, though. Last week was really weird. I think I was robbed of $100,000 last week. That Austin Vanderford arm triangle, bro.
Man.
If he finishes that, I win $100,000. That shit was tight. It was so tight. He was off to the side. He had it. I can't believe he didn't tap, dude. I really can't believe it. I still feel the pain from last Saturday. Oh, I felt like it was the perfect read, bro. Melky Costa sub parlay with Austin Vanderford sub.
Yeah.
It was like $1,500 to win $100,000. It was such an elite read. And he TKOs him on the ground, bro. I was devastated.
I hate when that happens with a dominant ground victory. Also ended up suffering a bad beat of my own in regards to the safe parlay and much, much more. John Matsumoto on the wrong side of a very competitive split decision. Our guy, John Matsumoto, will be back to put that fight on Rob Font on short notice was quite impressive. But also Julius Walker, I know that was Corey's guy as well. Split decision ends up going the other way, and I honestly thought that one maybe a little more egregious. So it's kind of the deal with betting UFC. Sometimes you're going to be way up, sometimes you're going to be way down, and it's going to come down to ground and pound versus sub. It's going to come down to split decisions. I feel like we had a lot of those breaks going our way this summer, and then it's been a little bit worse moving into 2025. But I think it's a good card to turn it around.
Yeah. Someone had my cycle lay, but they just swapped out John Silva and Melky Costa, and it was fucking so pretty, bro. I can't.
Wow.
That should have been me there. That should have been me too. It was such a good. Someone bet. They DM me. They bet like $1.50, and they won like 40 some bucks. And it was pretty much. It was Mansoor KO. Who's the decision I had?
Did you? Song Yadong off the iPhone.
Song Yadong decision, which was a tech decision, but still a decision. And then they had They had Costa by sub in there, which was the big one. That was like 8-1 or 9-1, and that was a nice little payout on that one.
Matty, I had to sit in the shower and think to myself, I'm the tendency guy, right? Like I'm the data guy. John Silva has never attempted a submission in UFC. Why the fuck do I keep betting on John Silva to win by submission? It's just,
I don't know.
It's something I got to ban it until I see one.
Fucking Peloton at least has like a guillotine attempt. I don't know if they're ever gonna. I doubt they gave that as an official submission attempt on Peloton's record. The standing guillotine he had on Jan Blachowicz, I don't think they credited him with that as an attempt.
Oh gosh.
Are we losing internet? Are you there, Austin?
I am here. I believe it was on my side, so I think we're okay. Let's hope that's the last time we have to deal with that. That would be the worst time for that, but Murphy's Law, something. So why don't we use that internet disconnection as a perfect transition here to our 12 fights up on the card. I had 7 of them I can model, which is way above average for the Apex, so it's kind of exciting there. And that starts with this first one that we have, women's flyweight. When they set the battle orders, this one's going to kick us off. Our girl, Lana Carolina, taking on Montana De La Rosa. This is absolutely the pits right outside women's 125, if it ever exactly existed. Thank you, Dixon, as always. If you like that, subscribe, hit all those buttons to help us here on Matty's YouTube channel, as well as the Home of Fight channels as you see
Hold
them.
on,
But
bro. Hold on,
what you
Austin.
what you got?
I hate to do this right now, but
Oh, now he answered. Wow.
oh, it did.
Wait, hold on one second.
Gilbert's there. Gilbert's on FaceTime with John Silva right now. He said he wants some money. Here he is. Yo, there's the man. Congrats, bro. Say it again. I'm on live stream right now. What'd he say?
He said, second time you're making money, he needs a little money.
Bro, I bet your submission like an idiot. Tell him I bet the submission.
John Silva joined us on the MattyBetss show.
He said always bet the knockout.
It's against
Next
Bryce
time,
Mitchell.
brother. Next time I bet the knockout.
Against Bryce Mitchell, I will hammer anything
Bryce
short of
Mitchell.
-200.
Bryce Mitchell knockout. Brett.
Absolutely.
He's gonna beat you up next time.
I'm betting your knockout versus Bryce Mitchell. I got you.
What are you doing?
I'm on a live stream right now with you people watching UFC.
Knockout against Bryce Mitchell?
I'm betting the knockout, bro. I'm betting the knockout. I promise. I'm betting the house on it.
Wait, did they ask Gilbert if they called him for Gaethje at all? They offered him, but Gaethje didn't.
Oh,
I bet he didn't. I bet he didn't.
That's crazy. That's crazy work. Yes, sir. Breaking news. All right, fellas. I appreciate you, bro. See you guys. All right, that's crazy. He said that next time we better bet the knockout.
Absolutely.
When he fights Bryce Mitchell. I mean,
Write
that's
it
a
down.
given, bro.
UFC 314. We are betting John Silva knockout, putting it in the cycle. We are taking that leg to the bank, right?
I'm in. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't. I mean, I made some money on his knockout on Drew Dober, but that one got pretty sweaty towards the end.
Yeah, it definitely did. But I feel so good about, especially when we saw Bryce go out cold to Josh Emmett like that, dude. The first thing I thought when they made that matchup is, oh, Bryce is a sacrificial lamb. And I think UFC might be done with him after some of those comments that he made earlier. But we had John Silva join us. We had Gilbert Burns join us on the podcast. Kind of a little underwhelming then to transition back to this fight. But I guess I already set it up, Matty. So what do you think of this opener here?
Not a whole lot, bro. Not a whole lot. I think Luana's kind of done more recently, which I think was why we're seeing her as, the slight favorite here.
Yeah.
I got to go Luana decision in this matchup, but man, it's ugly. I don't even know. These numbers are out, right? I haven't even looked at the decision line
They
yet.
should be. This fight's been live all week. But interestingly enough, this FanDuel number is a little different than what we had this morning. It's -142 live. So Montana got a little bit of money, but so Luana decision +110.
+110. Montana De La Rosa by the points +195. We'll see what Dixon says here. Matty, hear me out, bro. Montana attempted. Oh, wow. Lana's been knee barred. So the sub.
Yeah. I saw that in the comments. It is an interesting theory. I just I lost so much money with Julia Stolyarenko against Lana Carolina playing the grappling angle, bro. And Luana's gotten so good at defending takedowns. Montana's pretty inefficient with them. She's only landed 1 of 3 takedowns in UFC. I bet Luana earlier this week at -130, so got a little bit better number than this. And she's kind of been my girl. I've just been riding her in these matchups where she's going to have a significant striking advantage, 74% takedown defense. She's been able to keep her feet. She did this exact same thing to Lucy Pudilova, and you look at Montana De La Rosa, she is one of the worst analytical strikers at flyweight. Negative 0.49 striking success rate, but subpar both striking accuracy and defense. We got John Silva gonna go with. But yeah, I'd rather talk about John Silva than this fight, though. I think it is Carolina keeping her feet. I'm actually not showing value, weirdly enough, on points for Carolina, which means I got to kind of dig into what it is.
This is a no bet, is what it is.
Yeah, I think if you miss the money line, I've got Luana modeled at -140, so right about where the number sits right now. Like I was texting a couple of your guys that said, hey, if you want Luana, she's at -130. You better get her now because there was one bad line left out there. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot on this fight. I don't know. Like, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to Luana decision if you ended up circling back there for the cycle, but this one's just so overwhelmingly likely to go the distance that we've lost a lot of juice on it.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. I think, moreover, maybe we would have looked at Montana by points if we liked her to win, but I just don't think this is a good matchup for her.
Yeah, that's true.
All righty. Why don't we leave this fight behind? What do you say? We'll move forward here to our next fight up, which I think is a little bit more intriguing. Charles Johnson, Inner G, taking on Ramazan Tamirov here. Tamirov, absolute hellscape in his first UFC fight. Got 3 knockdowns, first round knockout. Could not go any better, especially for a guy at flyweight. And Energy found a way to scrap one out. Ends up beating Sumu Darji last time out. So this number is actually flipped. CJ was an underdog earlier this week. He is now a -120 favorite. The recent trends of that aren't necessarily great for the person that then closes as a favorite. But, Matty, are we moving against trends because in this matchup is the money right?
I'm betting this fight to go the distance. That's probably all I'll be on here. I just think that neither guy's getting finished here. I was looking at this fight. I'm like, I like Charles Johnson as a dog, but now as a small favorite, it's kind of a little sketchy to me. But I can rely on his durability. I can rely on this fight to go long, in my opinion. Charles Johnson's a beast, bro. I want to back him, but then you look back at some of those losses, even though they're a little while back, they just don't look that great. I mean, Cody Durden took him down 11 times. He has some fights that are just makes you question how good he is, and then he has other fights where he just like, I'm as high on Josh Van as anyone, and he puts him to sleep in the 3rd round.
Right.
So he's it's tough to get a read on Charles Johnson, but I think I can trust both guys to be durable in this spot, and I'm just going to hammer this fight to go the distance.
Can I potentially convince you with this as to why I bet CJ earlier this week? Every single one of those losses the same way. At least 3 takedowns at each loss. Some of them, like Makayev, landed 12 or whatever it is. Tamirov does not grapple at all, which I think is kind of it's a almost sort of lazy stereotype just because of where he's from. I'm going to get the country wrong if I don't look here, but typically it's a place where you see more grappling. It is it Uzbekistan? Okay. Woo. I had to check the flag there, but Uzbekistan, he doesn't grapple at all. He's definitely a striker. And I think why this is flipped is you look at the heights and reaches on these guys. CJ is a lot longer. He's a lot taller. We saw that bother Josh Van, at least in the 1st round. And then Van was building some momentum. And then wildly Johnson put him out in the 3rd round, right? I don't trust Tamirov at this point. I don't trust his cardio. I don't know anything about that. I don't trust any of that sort of nature. Whereas the one thing I do trust is Charles Johnson's durability. Like you said, 23 pro fights, never been finished, and more importantly, never been knocked out. And he's fought some guys that have power that can bring pace and pressure. I don't think Tamirov is particularly scary, at least as much of his record says at this point, because the Vergara debut, we've seen CJ hurt before. Vergara was in trouble against Daniel Lacerda, dropped twice. He's been in more grappling sort of matchups than that one, but I wasn't overly impressed given the level of competition compared to what we'll see with CJ.
Yeah, he has 6 submission wins. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see him shoot takedowns whatsoever, though. If anything, it's I'm sure you're going to find it's going to be like, we don't have specific submission methods, but I was thinking like guillotines and things like that.
Some arm bars, some rear naked chokes.
Interesting.
an arm triangle. I'm done. I'm never betting on a fucking arm triangle again after last week.
Right.
Um,
You know the underrated thing of CJ is his defensive grappling, right? Remember the Azat Maxim fight? Big underdog in that fight,
Yeah.
and he was able to stave off all the takedowns and the submission attempts and end up squeaking out a decision.
mhm.
So I think CJ is probably one of the 15 best guys in this division, right? Is that crazy?
Yeah, no, it's not crazy at all. I think he's definitely is.
Yeah. I'm a little just worried about that trend with Tamirov. Hot shot guy seems to have a lot of power. Johnson sneaky old at 34 too. So, you know, everyone's not been knocked out until they have been, which is a little scary, but I feel good about CJ. I got him at plus 100 though. So I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth.
Yeah, big reach advantage too.
Yeah, exactly. I like Johnson decision here. Obviously, wasn't able to.
I'm not opposed to that as a cycle leg here for sure.
If you feel very strongly about the over, I'd be down because I don't think Tamirov wins a 15-minute fight in this. Maybe he bonks him round one and the myth grows for that, but I don't think he outpoints CJ for 15 minutes.
Yeah, not with that reach disadvantage and experience disadvantage.
Yeah,
I mean, we can get CJ by points at plus 185. Isn't that interesting? Well, it's interesting that the other way is plus 260.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're almost a pick 'em. You would think it's pretty similar, but I mean, that just shows that just proves your point that he's not a guy that's going to beat him by decision. He's going to, if he gets the knockout, you're looking at plus 360 here. And Charles Johnson knockout 7-1 though. That's pretty crazy.
Did I convince you to bet CJ knockout against Jake Hadley and then he dropped him in that fight? Did I convince you to bet that? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
No. I've bet Johnson knockout a few times, bro, because it's popped on the model. He's had some stuff regionally, but
yeah,
I got tired eventually of trying to bet it. I really did.
And you bet it in the Josh Van fight?
I was on Van. I was on Van points in that fight.
I think Van will win the rematch, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I both love Josh Van as a pro Josh Van podcast, but maybe we do need to run that one back and see what ends up happening. But we'll so in pencil, Johnson decision plus 185, decent leg for the cycle. We'll at least keep it on the side.
Yeah, fair enough.
All righty. We move to one of my favorite fights on the card because my girl Andrea KGB Lee taking on JJ Aldridge here. This is I talked about ugly women's flyweight earlier. Here is even worse. Not only is Andrea Lee on a 0-win streak, as our graphic says, she's lost 5 fights in a row, and she's only plus 154 here against JJ Aldridge, who is coming off a loss to Veronica Hardy herself. So, Matty, this weirdly could be like a loser gets cut type of fight. Even though these girls have been around for a while. Do you have a strong lean with this money line at minus 200 in Aldridge's direction?
Bro, this is crazy. It is wide to me because I mean, look at the mutual. JJ Aldridge fought Montana De La Rosa 67-65 in strikes, right? Then let's see what was the difference here.
Andrea Lee at plus
75-70.
Yeah, and
then it's like this fight, you're a 2-1 favorite. I think it's just more about the fact that, Andrea Lee hasn't won in fucking forever.
Right.
Her last win was 2021. But all these girls she's fighting would absolutely kill JJ Aldridge, bro.
Agreed.
Miranda Maverick would kill her, Natalia Silva, Macy Barber. They would all kill her. So, I mean, this is another one that's going to go the distance. It's going to be either a split decision or it's probably going to be a split decision or just a close unanimous decision. I don't know.
Yeah, and by the way, updating what's on our graphic, Lee's even further distance, so plus 168 money line. Her points, dude, plus 270. As far as we love the formula. Women's underdog fight overwhelmingly goes the distance. The question becomes, do we want to sweat out the decision here? My answer is yes. I've been waiting all week to bet Andrea Lee here. Not only do I think she's the natural flyweight of these two, because Aldridge actually used to fight at 115, but I've got Aldridge just minus 110 here. That's a little bit on age. You look at some of the efficiency numbers, they're actually very similar, but Lee is the one with takedown upside. About a little over a takedown more per 15 minutes out of her. We saw her back and forth. She was able to take Macy Barber down, and Aldridge has really struggled on the ground. That's how Veronica Hardy was able to ice that fight in the last matchup. So I think Lee can win this fight anywhere. There are questions of, is she washed? Is this a retirement fight? All of that stuff is a little concerning at plus 168, but I think if she's here to win, she should not be plus 168 to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one, maybe two good wins on JJ Aldridge. I've had one. One was the Leon Na fight where I
4
took
a.m., right?
I took round 2-3 finish, and that was something I was in Singapore or some shit, and I hit nicely on that one. I think it was like 4-1 or 6-1, something in round 2.
Right.
I mean, she has a nice win over Jillian Robertson back in 2022. I guess I don't know. She has a nice win over Polyana Viana back in 2018.
That's not a nice win.
Yeah, I mean, but Polyana has some decent striking at the end of the day.
Sure.
I don't know. It's really tough, bro. I'm down to go Andrea Lee by decision if you want to ride that plus 270.
I really like that now. I think it's crazy when I have this fight modeled 87.6% likely to go the distance, which I probably right around where odds makers are. I mean, neither of these ladies are finishers in their own right, and then you match them up against each other. It's overwhelmingly likely to go the distance. So I think that's almost feels like Lee plus 270 to win. Now she does have a submission, Antonina Shevchenko, a little ways back, but I think other than that, Lee by points is probably the look. And
I don't see JJ Aldridge getting subbed by her.
I think we'll have a decision to make whether or not to take Johnson because I know CJ is going to show up to win. And my fear is this Lee just walking away, tipping her hat and saying, that's my career, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
So we'll talk about it. But as far as a straight bet perspective, I like Lee and Lee points here. No surprise that I modeled a ton of value on both of them. But that's you and I love to buy low. 5-fight losing streak against killers. Like you said, they would have killed Aldridge too. This is a classic you and I type of betting spot. So we'll ride that for sure. I'm sure it'll be on both of our main cards in some capacity. But why don't we move on here to a featherweight clash that it was at least a little bit more explosive. My boy Danny Silva taking on Lucas Almeida, who got back in the winner's circle against Timmy Kwamba his last time out. It's certainly an intriguing fight where these guys have a ton to prove relative to what our expectations for them were coming into UFC. It feels like Silva's starting to build a little bit of momentum. He's minus 210 here as a favorite, but can Almeida score another upset because he was an underdog against Kwamba, was able to come out on top? Yeah,
I'm Danny Silva here all day. I don't like how Lucas's ages have lost. Or I'm sorry, how his
losses have aged. Yeah,
dude, I'm so out of it right now for me to say that. No, I don't like how some of his losses have aged. I have to go Danny Silva here all day.
Yeah, I don't even think minus 210 is a very bad price for it. Like he was in that Danny, I was all over him in that very competitive fight against Culiabao that was probably much closer than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Culiabao was really piecing him up at distance a little bit. And then Silva also had that back and forth fight with Angel Pacheco. Pacheco comes into UFC himself, puts up at least a decent 3-round effort against Keelan Lofred. I like Silva here because I think he's got the grappling upside of these two. Almeida certainly seemed bothered when he was on bottom against Pat Sabatini. And I don't know what I suppose Almeida looked good at distance. It's really hard to beat a guy like Silva there, though, just because he's so active. He landed 204 significant strikes in the Contender Series. You ready for this, Matty? Card best 8.3 significant strikes landed per minute on a Silva. The guy is just nonstop output, nonstop offense. Helps when you miss weight, like we have in the graphic there. But assuming he can get that under control, I really like Silva as a win pick here.
Yeah. I think Silva by decision.
Yeah, it's just tough to. Let's see what is his submission tendencies looking like. So Silva has one submission attempt in 2 fights.
Decision? Did I say submission or decision?
No, you said decision. I was just looking at what would be the path to failure.
Yeah.
Almeida is a guy at least that has poor striking defense, 46%. Remember he was dropped in the first round. Andre Feely knocked him out at the pay. You were at that Edwards Covington pay-per-view a couple Decembers ago, right?
Yeah.
He got cleaned out in that appearance. Yeah, I don't know if I trust his chin enough to honestly bet points here. Almeida's.
Right. Yeah. Plus, the KO is only plus 240. Damn.
Ooh, weird. So just in case you don't have the sports book up in front of you, Silva points is the shortest outcome at 2-1. Then it's Silva KO plus 240, Almeida KO plus 390, and then Almeida points 6-1, and then both submissions are long shots here.
Yeah.
I kind of like Silva. This is based on nothing, but Silva KO 2-3, 9-1, and 12-1. Like a mounting damage type of KO because both of these guys are willing to go to war, but I feel better about Silva's offense and I feel better about his durability.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But 9-1 and 12-1 doesn't get the juices flowing for you, does it? Especially for a guy that went the distance last time.
Yeah. I just think Silva by decision plus 200. I mean, it's the most likely outcome, but still get 2-1 on it.
Yeah. This is a tough fight. This is a tough fight. But I think it's a tough fight, but maybe Silva's a guy that I consider for a potential safe parlay leg is his money line, because then I don't have to worry about maybe I leave the sub behind, but even then is a little scary. So it maybe his money line. Hopefully we don't get robbed by a split decision this week. But we'll pencil that. I'm glad you like Danny. I had a guy contact me, did like Danny. He was a different guy. I know my Feely guy let everyone down last week. I'm so sorry to everybody. I felt the pain as well, but different guy. But why don't we move on here? We'll talk about this men's bantamweight fight. John Castaneda taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade. Silva de Andrade, look how long his name is. It just piles up halfway on our slide. But we know both of these guys. They've been around this 135-pound division for a long time. Castaneda coming off that competitive loss to Daniel Marcos that was sort of Marcos's coming out party. And then we weirdly had Silva de Andrade in a co-main last time at the Apex against Miles Johns. Looked kind of old, looked kind of washed. Really not the highest level of 135 fight we've got so far. But Castaneda, I think based on age and a lot of other factors, is minus 340 to win it. So what do you think about this fight? Because I definitely think it's one of the tougher ones on the card for me.
I like John Castaneda a ton here. I'm looking at the props right now. So he's minus 120 by decision, plus 600 submission, and plus 650 KO. I don't even mind this, considering this for the cycle lay on the decision too. Minus 120.
Interesting.
I mean, I actually really like it, bro.
I agree with.
Yeah.
What's the decision? What is it?
Minus 120.
Oh shit. Okay. Wow. That's
the sub. I think the sub scares me more than anything, though.
Okay.
I mean, he got subbed by Rob Font by guillotine back in 2017. Peter Yan by TKO back in 2018. But he's been safe since then. He went the distance with Lerone Murphy, went the distance with Said Nurmagomedov, and then Miles Johns. Minus 120. Is that enough? Is that enough juice to make it worth it?
I don't think it's a particularly attractive number. I've got it modeled at plus 140. It is the most likely outcome of the fight. So the whole value proposition is just off for me, where this feels a little big for a guy in Castaneda that's had some vulnerable moments, I think. Like minus 340, I understand it. And like it is the era of the favorite. And we got a comment. These older dudes been losing at these lower weight classes, and that absolutely has been the case. And when you're 39 at bantamweight, it can be an uphill. But my fear is that we take Castaneda, and then all of a sudden we get the version of Douglas Silva de Andrade that has gotten me a couple of times, where randomly he comes out as a nuke. Interesting, Douglas by Suflov Stretch. Well, I guess you'll have to look at your exact outcome book and see what that might come. But I do think, weirdly enough, how many times has Castaneda been dropped in UFC? Because I feel like I don't quite trust his gin. 1, 2. Well, it's been 2 of his last 4 fights. So it's not a ton, but it is there. And Silva de Andrade randomly turns into this hammer when I'm about to count him out. But
Yeah.
Who
And
knows?
Cody Stamen just got dropped too by the
Yeah.
UFC, right?
He did.
So he's basically getting dropped by guys that are getting dropped by the UFC.
The Sergey Morozov fight, I played Morozov points, and that was a horrifying experience. Just dropped over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty straightforward fight. Now I'm a little bit confused. I'm gonna be honest.
It's just a bad number. I think is what it comes. I think your intuition is right about the most likely outcome of the fight, but we may Silva. If you go back and watch that Miles Johns fight, it was really ugly from Silva to Andrade. He looked old and slow, and he had gray hair. But like at the same time, I respect him enough to not lay minus 340 or associated props. So more so than any fight on the card, this one feels like a stay away or maybe some fun sprinkles at Silva, but you can't risk anything of note at this point, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's move on.
All right. Well, I agree with you. Let's do that. And talk about this one at featherweight, Matty, with a guy that you've been really high on for quite a while here. Kape Mariscal is kind of on a run. We see this from time to time with these guys that just get on a run, and he's 4-0 in UFC, and we didn't think very much of him as a regional veteran, and he has just taken some of the brightest prospects, like a Morgan Charrier, Damon Jackson's won a ton in this division, and made them look absolutely embarrassing, and now Ricardo Ramos is a guy with a ton of UFC wins. And he's plus 330 against Kape. The hype train is real. He is the second largest favorite on the card as we sit here on Thursday night, Matty. So what do you think about this pricing for Kape in this particular matchup against Ramos?
Kape's about to murder him, bro. He's about to murder him. I'm going Kape inside the distance for a big bet. He's going to finish him.
So he has not finished 4 opponents yet, but Ramos is going to be the first.
Correct.
I wonder what the price is, given his money line. If you could look that up for me.
He hasn't gotten finishes necessarily, but he's been pretty damn close. I mean, he beat the brakes off Damon Jackson. Morgan Charrier is a tough fight. So, Jack Jenkins, Trevor Peek is pretty tough. Like, it's to me, it's been more about the matchmaking than his finishing ability. Sure. I think this is the fight he can get the finish, and hopefully we're getting some value on it because of that. Let me take a look here. So the double chance KO or sub minus 145.
Interesting.
Do you prefer the sub or the KO?
I can answer that via. It's not exactly great, but I guess I have KO double in odds of what I do the submission. But neither of them showing anything close to value, Matty. It's just my model's going to see Kape going the distance with all these guys, and I don't know if he's got a drop. He doesn't. He doesn't have a drop yet in UFC. He has 1 empty submission attempt. Like, it's just kind of hard. What you're banking on is Ramos quitting, which is a very plausible thing here, but I kind of feel like this betting line's out of control, and I lean Ramos here, dude. I really do.
I gotta say, how much grappling do you think will be involved here? Because we talk about Ricardo quitting at times, and Kape will get takedowns. If he got 5 against Damon Jackson, I'm willing to bet there's going to be a lot of scrambles in this matchup. And I don't look at this plus 470 number by sub and say that that's not a bad number
for Mariscal.
By sub, yeah, plus 470.
Okay. What's Ramos? If you could do me
plus 1500.
Love it. Oh my god. I had circled here, bro. If it's going to the 3rd round or later, Ricardo Ramos is not winning this fight because he just doesn't. He has gas tank issues, but I have a feeling, and we'll see if this ends up being the case, but I think Kape is going to be in a deep submission attempt here in the 1st round of this fight. He may very well survive it and go on to dominate, but I just think this is the first guy that Kape has faced that has really nasty back-taking ability. Jackson's just not very fast. He's a little bit older. I think Ramos is a guy that can sprawl and find the back very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I've got Ramos significantly more likely to sub Kape than the other way around, just via tendency, and he's actually got some of the submission wins on his resume. Now, at distance, I think Ricardo could be in trouble because he's kind of a spinning back fist merchant. So if Kape elects to not grapple in this fight, I think it would serve him well.
Interesting.
But I'm going to play Ramos 1-2, and I'm going to fade the Kape hype train here with absolute paranoia. I've only got him a minus 145 favorite.
Interesting. All right.
It scares me, dude.
Yeah, it's a weird fight.
Did you have this tentative as like a sub play or as like a cycle play, or are you not sure about KO sub?
This to me would be an inside of distance play, but I do like the sub at plus 470. It more just stuck out to me based off of the last fight, the Damon Jackson, or not. Which fight was it? Yeah, the Kape versus Damon Jackson fight. There's a lot of grappling, a lot of scrambles in that fight, and I just feel like Damon Jackson at least kind of like isn't going to quit, you know?
Yep.
You put Ricardo in that same exact spot, I think Kape's getting a round 3 finish.
Yeah. Jackson is just this interesting guy where he has gone back and forth between looking superhuman and like the biggest nail opposite a hammer that you could possibly imagine. It's just and I think you get that with a Fortis guy, but just for the record, I'm just going to throw it out there. Ramos sub 1 is 31-1, sub 2 is 46-1. I'm just throwing it out there.
For sure. If you're gonna play it that way. And then this is crazy how Kape round 2 is plus 450, just a win in round 2, and then the win in round 3 is only plus 550.
Yeah.
It's like they know, why is the jumping from round 2 to round 3 only plus 100 better? It's usually a wider gap than that.
Doesn't it concern you at all that Kape went 15 minutes with Jackson, and then our boy Jim Miller comes out and boxes him up on the feet to a point where we're going to catch KO and then grabs his neck? Does that not concern you a little bit for Kape and his ability?
Fuck that fight, bro. We would have won so much.
I'm just saying that you and I were watching it from the same perspective of, man, Jim Miller was doing really well at distance in that fight.
I always talk about how good Jim Miller is, though. He's my guy. He's underrated. He ages like wine. I'm going to just say that's just Jim Miller.
Yeah, and it's ostensibly 2 weight classes apart because Ramos used to fight at 135, so very different size as well. So it's a fair point. I just thought I'd throw it out there because this was definitely the most controversial model job that I had this week, where I don't have Kape nearly this close to chalk, but Kape is a guy that is not, he's just been a great guy to root for. He's such a grinder, he's just so active. He's a guy that's going to be very popular, and unfortunately, with popularity comes loss of betting value. And that's what I was afraid of happening, and it sure has. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe I can hit a long shot. It's been a long time, it feels like, at this point, but I'm going to play Ramos sub 1-2, and we'll see what ends up happening there. Yeah. So, Matty, why don't we move on to our featured pre-limit heavyweight, a guy that hopefully injects some life into this listless heavyweight division. Mario Pinto, undefeated, coming off the Contender Series. They're giving him as much of a softball as you could probably get at heavyweight if you're not rebellious to Spain. That is Austin Lane, who has suffered a few TKO losses in the first round in his day. Former Jacksonville Jaguar, shout out Duval County. But Matty Pinto, the biggest favorite on the card. He's minus 530 here. Of course, we're going to have to ask ourselves, is this going to be a classic Contender Series fraud check? But I do think it's an interesting fight. So what do you think of Pinto in this spot?
It's crazy, right? Because Austin Lane, it's like he gets put away by all these guys, but then with Rebellious to Spain, it's like, he just takes him down for 15 minutes. It's like, can he just do the same thing here? Or is that just Rebellious? Like, is that just who he is at this point? It's why he's not in the UFC anymore. And then he just looks like a monster in karate combat. Like, literally come out within 5-10 seconds and starching guys. So it's tough. And I haven't spent enough time watching Mario's tape. I don't know what your thoughts are on him. But, I mean, this kind of makes me want to go back to Austin Lane by decision at 11-1. It's like, can he just do it again?
Yeah.
11-1 feels like a great number on that.
Yeah, I think that Pinto is a lot better than Despain as far as a well-rounded MMA fighter is concerned. And he was a guy, I was very skeptical of him on the Contender Series. I might have even played his opponent. I don't actually remember how I angled it, but I was somewhat skeptical. And then he comes on the Contender Series and he kind of looked the part, where athletic, bouncing on his feet well, and he trains with the guys at Manchester Top Team with Leon Edwards, his brother Fabian, those type of guys. A lot of good, larger athletic bodies in that gym, and he kind of looks in that same mold. I agree is that Pinto does have a bit of get-up game compared to Despain, and I don't know how consistent or good those takedowns were from Lane as much as the competition he was fighting. This to me feels like where odds makers are drawing the line and they're saying this guy deserves to be a prohibitive favorite against Lane. He's capable of much better than this, and it kind of makes me just want to play Pinto round 1-2 live. I was impressed on the Contender Series. I've been fooled before, so I'm obviously not going to stake my claim to it, or I feel strongly about a cycle leg, but I think Pinto's decent chalk here.
Pinto by KO.
I wonder what the odds look like as far as length is concerned, because that's the drama in this fight. So let's see. 1.5 rounds, it's a pickup. So it's a pickup whether it'll go 1-2. So Pinto round 1 is plus 170, round 2 is plus 360.
Yeah.
Not great.
He's got a submission on his resume. He's got a rear naked choke.
He does. It was a ground victory, and that's the other thing that you get concerned about with Lane is, okay, he's able to take down Despain, but does he have any grappling at all, or is he going to get caught in a front choke? You know,
That would be a hell of a cash, just some sort of exact outcome.
Oh, I'm sure Pinto's submission is like 20-1 in this fight, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's plus 850. It's plus 850. It's kind of short.
I mean, I'm thinking guillotine. I'm thinking guillotine or rear naked choke, maybe.
I think that's a good read because
Yeah.
Lane now, to me, realizes I can't stand and trade with these heavyweights, but I can try to take them down like I did Despain. But Pinto is a guy that I do think has a ground game. I think he's got a get-up game. Maybe he does get stuck in a front choke. He's got a rear naked choke. Maybe he's got a gilly.
Yeah. No, I need to look more into this guy's grappling. I'm gonna look into that the next day or so, see what I can dig up. But I'm telling you, I have a weird feeling about him catching something on the ground here.
Yeah. We got a comment that Pinto's the smaller guy here, but at least by UFC weights, Pinto weighed in 14 pounds heavier on the Contender Series than Lane did in his last fight. I'm not sure. I see them as comparably sized, if anything.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch some more tape on him.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I'd watch his Contender Series fight again. It was good while it lasted. I think it was only a couple minutes or so. Yeah, it was like 2 minutes. So I was impressed. But that's a good time to bury that, and it also brings us to the point in the show which I think is most important, because you guys can get some elite access to Homo Fight picks and get picks that are absolutely cashing, unlike Matty and I's cycle parlay of late. But Hey Jive and Nolan absolutely are with Homo Fight picks. These guys are awesome, and they are cooking. They're up 17 units this year. That means $100 bettors are up $1,700 in just the first 2 months. It's already the end of February. Can't believe that. But they're up also 227 since the start of 2023. So that is $100 rolled over every unit, $22,000 since inception. These guys deliver in multiple formats every week. So get their picks for free on this card if you haven't already. If you're a new customer, code Vegas, 7 days for free. We have that link pinned in the YouTube channel. You can also visit the HOF picks on X for more information. Those guys, I don't sell picks myself, never have, never will, but these guys and their MMA knowledge are absolute kings. I respect the heck out of them. And if you want to check out their stuff, you can do so with that code 7 days free. You'll get UFC Vegas 103 for free. So we appreciate those guys. We appreciate their support. And of course, all of this powered by Home Fight. We appreciate them giving us the chance to break down fights every Thursday, which includes this one here between Danny Barlow and Sam Patterson. Matty, I love this fight. This is such good classic UFC matchmaking. Barlow and Patterson, striker versus grappler. They're really both kind of high level prospects. I'm a little weirded out that they're crossing paths so early. Odds makers have a take here. Barlow minus 320, so they are back in left hand to God. My question is, are you?
Bro, I like Danny Barlow in general, but I don't know what it is, but I just can't stop looking at that Sam Patterson by submission number.
Right.
You can't do it. And then look at Danny Barlow. Look how his last fight is aged after our guy Austin Vanderford just beat the shit out of that guy.
Yeah. Wow.
You know? And Josh Quinlan, he goes, deep in the round 3, or I guess early in the round 3, gets a KO. I don't know. I just think that Danny Barlow better not play with his food in this fight. Like, you better try to get this guy out of there. Next thing you know, he might be on his back.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll really find out a lot about both guys in this fight. You and I we catch Patterson sub in his last fight, I'm pretty sure, together. Like
Yeah.
it was very chalk in that spot. But Patterson sub talking to me like the Green Goblin mask. So what is Patterson sub? Because if he's gonna win, it is plus 470. He is a plus. What is he for? He's a plus 230.
You can't not take that, bro.
My question is, if you like Patterson, how do you think he's going to win if it's not a sub? Because Barlow 100%
maybe like an ugly decision, possibly.
Yeah,
but
maybe Barlow can't keep his feet, but I think there's a lot to prove about both of these guys. If you remember, Ashmus knocked out Patterson in his UFC debut. That was way down at 155. You could attribute it to the weight cut, but then again, he's also fighting bigger guys up here. And you look at his last two opponents. He drew Johan Lanyes and he drew Kiefer Crosby, guys with very limited submission skills, very limited grapplers. Like, we knew that going in.
yeah,
Barlow, we don't know as much about. Like, he's been able to defend takedowns so far, but it's weird to me he's such a big favorite here, because I don't have a strong lean or a take about it. I would straight pick Barlow by KO, but I'll tell you a line in this fight I love. Under 1.5 rounds, minus 110, bro.
I like that a lot, bro.
Patterson was killed in his debut. He's a round one sub guy. Barlow just doesn't have any BJJ to hang. You get 7.5 minutes of a sweat, and then maybe what you hedge it off with is then Barlow round 3 decision if he overhits, because it's probably going to be a pretty big number, and I don't think Sam's going to end up winning the decision here. So
yeah, I'm with you. I hate playing the under 1.5 numbers, but in this one I really like it. Or maybe you just go Patterson 1-2 sub, Barlow 1-2 KO. You could look at maybe doing something like that as well, but I just think that this fight's going under for sure.
Me too. And some of the reason for value might be Barlow goes the full distance in his last fight against Varetnikov, right? And goes to round 3 against Quinlan. So we really haven't seen him be the one punch and go type of guy. But I know Sam Patterson is Clint McLean, who does the Die Hard podcast on Homo Fight. I know he is Clint's guy. I feel like Patterson is super chinny, and he leaves his neck way up in the air and just hasn't really faced someone to take advantage of that since. I feel like Barlow is finding a round 1 left hand. And one last betting tip, if you agree with me, Barlow round 1 is plus 220 here. Round 1 KO is only plus 240. So just take round 1. Don't get greedy. We saw that in the Bogdan Gusko fight. Don't get greedy. That's a tip from Uncle Austin if you like Danny in round 1.
Yeah. I don't know. I like seeing Patterson by submission, kind of.
Well, so what I'd say to you is, why wouldn't you just play round 1, a sprinkle at round 1-2 sub? It is 11-1 and 16-1.
Yeah, 100%.
If you like that,
I would, to answer your question.
Yeah.
It's depending on what number I can get in Florida here, but yeah, no, 100%.
I feel like this total's way off because of Barlow's recent fights, but this is going to be a sink or swim fight for both of these guys. I might even consider putting.
Yeah, Patterson just round 1 finish is 8-1. Is that what you're seeing, or are you seeing a better number?
Set plus 750, so you have the better number.
Wow, and round 2 is 10-1.
Yeah, you might as well take the finish. Same exact thing. It just, what if he breaks his arm?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm feeling kind of spicy. I might put this in the safe parlay this week. The under, maybe not under 1.5, but if I go fight doesn't go the distance.
Yeah, for sure. You can do that in a safe parlay.
Minus 450.
300. What is it?
Minus 450.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm good with it, man. I like the under 1.5 here, so I think it's a pretty good price. So why don't we move forward here? We'll talk about this next fight. I've got promoted up to the main card. I think it's because Hyder, the Hurricane Amil, is all the rage after that Rock'em Sock'em Robots fight against Jung Young Lee. Those guys came out from the bell and just decided they were going to swing until somebody went down, and Amil ended up being the victor there, and he got a huge step up in promotion to a guy that was not your fan. You were not a fan of in France last time out. You had Joe Anderson Brito sub. You had round 2, if I'm not mistaken. And that sub was very, very close, but Gomis ends up surviving it, and William Gomis ended up getting a controversial split decision. So this is an intriguing fight. odds actually moving toward Haider Amil as a plus 162 underdog. Do you think that Gomis is a little expensive as chalk here?
Bro, what is this number if Joannis and Brito gets the nod on that split decision? You think this number is different?
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah,
Right?
it is.
So, like, that alone just tells you where the value is on this side, right? Because I was at that fight. I was sitting fucking right next to the front row of that octagon, waiting on Moicano's matchup. And I had Joannis and Brito in that fight, and I think every day of the week he won 2 rounds to 1, but he lost this. Was it a split decision?
It was a split decision
Yeah, he
in
loses
France.
a split decision to the Frenchman in Paris. With that said, William Gomis is good, bro. He's actually really good. You know, like he's kind of like a gamer, you know. But I just think the value's on the other side here. But it's a very, very tough fight. But I just think this fight's a lot closer to a pick'em than it is a minus 210 favorite.
Yeah. I conceptually on the main card, I feel the best about how this fight looks is that in general, you do not have to be the more skilled fighter. I tell guys that bet based on film, the more skilled fighter does not win 100% of UFC fights. There are intangibles about activity, about aggressiveness. And these guys are polar opposites in the division, whatever the 100th and 0th percentile are. Gomis is so willing to sit on his back foot. He's so willing to not press the attack. And Haider Amil is a hurricane. He is aptly named of a guy that will just walk forward. It was so ironic in the Contender Series. He was pinned up against the fence by a wrestler the entire time because that was the worst fight he's ever fought in his entire career. He's been all action since.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's going to overwhelm Gomis here. And at the worst, he's going to win rounds to take a decision. And at best, he might be able to overwhelm him for a TKO. Not really a wrestler type, but I love Amil money line in this spot. I already bet it for a unit at plus 175. And I think a finish here would not be crazy. I know Gomis' striking defense is hard to penetrate, but activity means a lot, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I will say that Joannis and Brito apparently had a very poor weight cut in that fight. And he's a big guy for that division, bro. Gilbert was telling us a story about how he was like literally at an airport and talking to Brito, and Brito's like weighs more than Gilbert, who's a welterweight. You know, like it's just crazy. So I don't know. I know that, you know, fighting in Paris, bad weight cut, still almost got the submission, still almost put away Gomis. So I just think the value's on against Gomis in this fight, but will it shock me if he wins a decision? It will not shock me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Would you go inside the distance here or KO?
Probably late, more than early. I'm thinking like I wonder what a same game of Amil money line and then fight to start round 2 would look like.
I mean, Amil KO is plus 460. That's a good number.
Yeah, I mean, Gomis' striking defense is actually the very best of any fighter. Minimum 30 octagon minutes at featherweight. It's 70 or what is it? Is 71%? I think it is.
Wow.
It's huge. It's great. And that's the tough part. But you also look who it came against, bro. Jarno Aarons, Francis Marshall now cut. And then who else did he? Giannis Gamori now cut. That was the guy Peyton Talbot sent in the Shadow Realm. So really, Brito was the first guy that he fought that is really a decent striker in any capacity. And then Brito took the game plan to take him down. And by the way, I thought Joe Anderson should have got the nod in that fight anyway, even if he didn't get the submission. So I see this as kind of a buy. I get to fade Gomis higher than he should be because of all this level of competition and stuff. It's like he did what he was supposed to against Jarno Aarons. He took him down. Really sat on the outside against Gamori, sat on the outside. I think he did get a third round against Gamori, but it's like, that guy is not a UFC level fighter. Haider Amil's really good, and he's very aggressive. Look at the comment. I hope Amil starches this French baguette. It's like, I don't know if he can starch him, but activity does matter. So I think he's a good, it's kind of chalky, but I think he is a good underdog. He's like a public underdog, but at the same time, I feel like the public kind of got it right here.
Yeah, bro. I'm a little bit torn here. The other part of me that like I'm really looking at this Amil by points, plus 450 decision, plus 460 KO.
Wow.
Both of those are live here. If you really just believe Gomis good defensively, he can get on his bicycle a little bit as well. maybe this one isn't in France. Maybe this does go the distance, and then you're kind of getting what the undefeated guy, or he's not undefeated. He's what, 11-1.
Yeah.
Well, 10-0. It's 10-0 on his UFC record. So, I don't know. I think you're kind of getting the semi undefeated guy here to just win a decision at plus 460 or plus 450. That's staring at me as well. So I want to watch more tape on this one. But I do think that the Gomis side's just a little bit inflated here just because of that decision win over Joe Anderson Brito. And I'm a big Joe Anderson Brito guy, bro.
Yeah, I know you are.
I still can't believe they didn't give him that win. But at the same time, he should have got him out of there. He should have got that sub in round 2. I think it was.
You've had me come around on Joe Anderson. I'm a reformed hater. I thought I was impressed even in the Gomis fight, even though he quote unquote lost. But I wish Amil was more of a sub threat, dude. I've bet sub against Gomis twice in a row. I still think he's a guy that if you can get on top of him, he's incredibly subbable.
Yeah,
but Amil just has one pro sub. It was by rear naked choke, and it's 15-1 here.
Yeah, really 15-1. Yeah,
and he had lots of opportunities for front chokes on the Contender Series and never jumped on one.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just don't think the tendency is there. But KO decisions, it's interesting. Odds makers say it's about even because I'm torn myself. Of course, not able to model Hyder yet, but we'll eventually get there. But Matty, this is where I think the Apex picks up a little bit. This is a pretty good fight for third to last fight on the Apex. Esteban Rybovics coming off a barn burner at Noche UFC. Fight of the year contender against Daniel Zellhuber. Another fight of the year contender, maybe. Nasrat Haqparast on the other side faced our guy, Jared Gordon, ended up getting a split decision nod. So both these guys coming off real fun barn burners. They're very likely to produce another between them this week. What do you think with Rybovics, the youngster, at minus 280 here out of Argentina to keep the momentum rolling?
Bro, his fight was so entertaining. I was at that Noche card. Oh my god, bro. But I had him unofficially. I bet his round 2-3, and I was flipping out because I was like, how is Zellhuber still standing, bro? It was just unbelievable that fight went the distance somehow. Both guys were nearly out on their feet. This is a tough fight because Nasrat's pretty durable, right? Yep. His only knockout loss was Drew Dober back in 2020. He went the distance with Dan Hooker, went the distance with Bobby Green, and then since those 2 losses, he's rattled off 4 in a row. The problem is I just don't think I think Jared Gordon beat him. I thought that was a very close decision. That was a split decision. Mm-hmm. 146 to 141 in significant strikes. Neither takedowns for either guy. I see this fight going about the same as that fight did. I think it'll go all 3 rounds. I think it'll be a high volume striking affair, and I think that it's going to be very close on the scorecards.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I actually was able to model this. Surprising as heck to me. Rybovics was my biggest favorite I had this week. I've got him minus 195, so not showing direct value against his money line, but interestingly enough, I've got it about 50-50 whether or not Rybovics wins by KO or by decision. And we do think of Nasrat as this super responsible, super durable guy. But what if Rybovics, and really what it's seeing is Rybovics' pace and his pressure over 15 significant strikes attempted per minute. Zellhuber is a guy that has great striking defense. He's got unbelievable chin and heart, and he nearly was put out 3 or 4 times. It's actually seeing that it's a potential buy low spot for Rybovics on a KO just because he didn't get one. Wow. The McKinney knockout was a highlight, right? It was a kick out of nowhere. Nasty. It was nasty. And the thing that I keep coming back to when I pick this fight is we have never seen Esteban Rybovics lose at distance. He got taken down a bunch in his debut, but that is not Nasrat's game. In fact, if this hit the mat, I feel like Rybovics would be more comfortable. So I think Esteban's a pretty good favorite here. And in the model cycle parlay that I was going to build and look at the end of the show, Rybovics KO is the best KO prop that I've got in it this week. I've got it plus 220. It's plus 300 on FanDuel.
Wow. Yeah, plus 300 is nice. I mean, another way to look at Nasrat is Dan Hooker has some KO power. He's more known just for being a violent motherfucker, crazy man. And then Bobby Green's kind of like death by 1,000 punches. It's not really like he's starching guys.
Yep.
then you look at some of his resume and you're like, well, is he really facing the biggest punchers? You know, Jared Gordon, Jamie Malarkey,
The answer's no.
Bobby
Like,
Green, Dan Hooker, Rafa Garcia. The one big puncher he faced was Drew Dober, and Dober put his lights out in round one.
I mean, you want to count Mark Jacasey? Because I don't really.
Yeah. Is there anyone else?
No, Jacasey probably be number 2 on the list.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Interesting. And 3-1 on the KO does tempt me.
I think it's a better number than points at the plus 115.
That I agree with. I mean, I would almost if you're going the decision route, you get Nasrat at plus 430.
Yeah.
He does it with 62% striking defense. He's looked pretty good when fights stay on the feet. I mean, it's tough, bro. It's honestly tough. I mean, you're starting to sell me on the plus 300 KO though, truthfully. I mean, Zeller Huber, I can't please survive that onslaught, dude.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely incredible.
And he is, it looks like 6-3, if I counted that right, 6-3 in UFC on decision. So Haqparast there's something optically that he does well to earn these decisions in these close fights. I just think that Rybovics will have the bigger moments in this fight. Whether that results in a finish or not, that's kind of what the model sees.
Yeah, fair enough. What did you make of his fight against Cam Kirk? I don't even remember that fight. That was back in July 2023.
He got taken down in the first round and he lost it, and then he came back as a firestorm in the second and third round. I thought he impressively was able to get the second and third round when Kirk faded a little bit, wasn't able to get the takedowns. But that's the biggest thing is what I said is he's never really lost to anybody that was going to strike at distance with him, and Nasrat is not going to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 UFC takedowns ever. Nasrat's been with UFC forever. So it's like he is not a guy that's going to take Rybovics down, and that's a very scary guy to fade.
That's fair.
Let's see if I talk you into a KO on this guy. I love it. So
considering it.
All righty. So speaking of KOs, we may have one in this fight, an explosive. Some people look at it like, why is this fight the co-main event on any UFC card in 2025? I think it's because action at least is guaranteed between Julian Marquez and Cody Brundage. It's going to be really hard for either of these guys to have a boring fight. Now, it may end via disqualification in the first round, but there's probably action on tap between these guys, electric middleweight finishers. Matty, we've seen the odds shrink pretty dramatically on this one. Brundage was as high as plus 150 or so on Sunday, all the way down to plus 114. I saw you had some social media activity about this fight. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what you're on here?
Yes, sir. I have about somewhere between $8,000 and $11,000 on Cody Brundage already. And you guys know me. I don't even bet fighters early in the week, try to lock in value because I'm a prop better anyways. But this is one where I'm like completely blown away that Cody Brundage is the dog. There's never been a line like this that has just blown my mind. Like we see it on fights where guys just have crazy hype, right? Like, for example, if like a Hamza is like a minus 400 against a proven UFC guy, like I get that. But this line, bro, it makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, I think Cody Brundage looked really good in the Bo Nickel fight until, Bo Nickel was able to put him away. I think Julian Marquez has no chin left. He's been put away in round 1 or 2 in the past 3 fights in a row. And I think that Cody has the wrestling advantage and the durability advantage. So I'm sitting here wondering, like, why the hell is Marquez the favorite, dude? I have no idea. Like, if someone please tell me in the chat right now, what makes Julian Marquez a favorite against anyone right now?
Yeah.
Like his last win was Sam Alvey back in 2021. Even back in 2017, the guys he's putting away, Phil Hall is kind of known for getting put away by guys in the UFC, right? Like, the guys he's put away has been Sam Alvey, Phil Hawes. He does have a couple he has a guillotine and an anaconda, which is interesting here. Cody's wrestling against him, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know that Cody obviously has a wrestling advantage. The question is, even if he doesn't use the wrestling, I still prefer him's chin to hold up in a slugfest.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like Cody has good power. And I'll tell you guys one thing. Cody told me when I went to the Dustin Jacoby fight in Tampa, Cody was with Jacoby. Cody didn't tell me who his upcoming opponent was going to be, but he's like, I really like this matchup. When I was talking to him, I'm assuming that it was Marquez then, just like it is today. I don't know the answer to that, but I think it makes a lot of sense why he likes this matchup.
Yeah,
I'm blown away. This is one of my biggest, gonna be end up being one of my bigger UFC plays of the entire year. Is I'll have money 2 to 3 different ways coming in on Cody Brundage. So hopefully I don't get screwed, but I can't make any sense of why he's the underdog.
Matty, you remember that I think it was last year, and maybe we didn't get to do a show because I was out, I was moving that week, but you had the biggest underdog bet of the year on Damon Blackshear.
Yeah, so
and I texted
my underdog bets.
Well, no. I texted you, and I texted you. I said, "Hey, model likes Montel KO here, bro. I'd be careful with how much you put on this." This time it is different. I've got Brundage a minus 130 favorite here. I think he should be favored. Your point about Marquez being a favorite over someone else in UFC is crazy because his archetype is really running out of paths to win. In that you talked about maybe if Cody starts wrestling and he's tired, he gets caught in a choke. I think that's the only way Marquez wins this fight because his chin is dust. It's been blown to smithereens by guys who have not aged particularly well in recent fights. And then you mentioned the wrestling advantage. I think that's why under 1.5 rounds might be a little trappy here. Is Cody could say, "Hey, I need this win. I'm going to wrestle against a guy that has a really bad takedown defense, 53%, and I'm going to stay safe." Because, you say what you want about Cody. Takes on Rodolfo Vieira. He dropped him in the first round in that fight. Bo Nickel was a horrible matchup that everybody else in middleweight dodged, and Cody lasted longer with Bo than anyone not named Paul Craig. And then the Nick Maximo fight in his debut, he goes a hard 15 minutes and ends up losing a tight competitive decision. So, I feel like it's all anecdotal with Brundage. He quit against Malkoun with the back of the head strikes. Jacob Malkoun's really, really good.
Yeah, that's a bullshit narrative, bro.
Dude got hit extremely hard by Abdul Razak Al Hassan and found a way out the door. This dude's not Abdul Razak Al Hassan in terms of power and danger. I think this is the bottom of the barrel at middleweight, and I had a prediction that I gave out in the earlier this week that I thought this line was going to flip by fight night. It's getting closer and closer by the day. And I just feel like Brundage should be a favorite here. And it's one of those situations where this is sharp money moving this because I don't feel like the public is lining up to bet Cody Brundage as excitedly as you and I are.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, bro. I mean, I think Cody will be like minus 115 by the time this fight starts on Saturday, but we'll see. I got money in on him at 140, 125, 120, kind of all around different numbers.
Yeah.
I tried to get him at 150 something, but no one would take the other side of it.
Yeah.
I love Cody Brundage here. Someone put in the comments that he's my friend. I've talked to him twice in my life, so if you think he's my friend and that's why I'm betting him, then feel free to fade me. He's a super likable guy for sure, but he's not someone I would say is a friend. I've talked to him a couple times. One thing, and again, I don't know how much you guys put into this type of stuff, but I think it's at least worth mentioning. We're talking about how these two guys pretty much fighting for a job, right? There's a case to be made, especially on the Julian Marquez side. Cody actually talked about one of the in his interviews that his daughter has ALG13, which is like a rare genetic disorder, and he got very emotional talking about it, but he has a real why and a real purpose with wanting to win this fight and with wanting to advance his career in the UFC. And I think he's a guy that's just had some bad luck, took some shots to the head, kind of had bad narratives and storylines around him. I think he comes out super motivated in this fight. I think he gets a finish, and I think he gets more fights in the UFC is my prediction.
Yeah. You remember when he flattened Tresean Gore and it was like a giant upset, but like Gore just got a submission of Tricoli a few Apex cards ago. So like you kind of look at Cody's resume, I kind of had those same biases against him, but that's why I have a model. It removes bias. It looks at things objectively without any emotion or any strings attached to it. But speaking of props here, Matty, because you and I are both taking like a pick or a money line angle.
Yeah.
What do you think about an exact outcome here? Because it's kind of tough.
KO. Yeah, okay. I like KO. You bet anything else, you're going to feel stupid when Marquez's chin goes out. I think the ground and pound is live. I think Cody's been subbed a couple times, but you look at who subbed him. It's Rodolfo Vieira, best BJ in the division pretty much, and then Bo Nickel, who he just couldn't keep up with wrestling wise, but looked really good at moments in that fight. But I think you have to go Cody Brundage by KO TKO here.
Yeah.
If you think he can throw him around for 3 rounds, win a decision, then maybe. But I'm going Cody for sure by KO here. Plus 270 on the KO. And then you get 6-1 on the decision and 6-1 on the submission.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think a sub is live?
I have Marquez subs significantly more likely, so I probably wouldn't bet it. The number that is showing value to me is Brundage points, like you said, the 3-round decision. I also think there could be a bit of a trepidatious nature to this fight, where Marquez has been stopped early a lot recently. Brundage is a guy that's been out in the first round a lot recently. They may both try to really feel out this fight that's very pivotal for both of their careers. So I kind of lean Brundage points here at 6-1.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I'd rather go inside the distance than KO here.
What's the difference between the number? I'm wondering.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're still getting plus 155 on him by finish, and he's, I mean, if you're getting a guy around even money that, just the finish is just more attractive. He could get a guillotine. He could get – dude, he has a sick arm triangle choke. If he gets on top of Julian Marquez, he has, I think, a couple of those. He has 1, 2 – he has 2 arm triangle chokes prior to the UFC. And he's a guillotine in the UFC.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just inside the distance all day on him. Bet a big bet, plus 155. Give me the finish. If Julian Marquez can survive 3 rounds – take my money. You can have it.
Yeah, I mean, but like when you pare it down, I feel like the money line is the best bet. You still get plus money, like you get plus 155 versus plus 115. Like, what do you split for a few cents for? In my opinion, but that's I always play it safe. You know that about me. I love Cody's money line here. I already dropped 2 units, and I'll probably keep it there. This isn't a fight I want a ton of exposure to. These guys not exactly the most reliable customers, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Cody Brundage, lock of the card. I'll tell you my point in. Lock of the card, Cody Brundage. I've just been telling you the lock of the card the past 5 minutes. You got to listen.
Yeah.
But don't ever bet more than you should be, because anything will happen in this sport. I'm still blown away. He's the underdog. Absolutely blown away.
That's it, Matty. Read the responsible gaming stuff and keep me from getting fired. So why don't we use that as to transition to the main event? And we certainly got title ramifications in this 5-rounder at flyweight. Manel Kape taking on Asu Almabayev on short notice. This was supposed to be Brandon Royval, but Asu's going to step in because Royval had to pull out with an injury. Pretty much a no doubt winner of this fight gets the next shot at Alexandre Pantoja, whenever that might be, before or after another fighter. I don't know what Pantoja's doing at this point or if it's been announced. But Manel Kape minus 235, super impressive showing in December against Bruno Silva. That was a fight where Matty was loud right and Austin was loud wrong. Almabayev, this undefeated climbing prospect we kind of knew was going to end up in this area. Is this a little bit too much too soon for Asu, or do you think he's a live dog here?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, what fights do you think have prepared Manel Kape for this type of opponent in his UFC career?
Makayev is very similar.
That's what I was going to say, and of course, that's the fight he lost by decision.
Pantoja was there as well. Very good wrestler and grappler.
Yeah,
lost by decision.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, look, I'm pretty high on Manel Kape in general. I played the round 2-3 against Bruno Silva, and we cashed that luckily in round 3.
Yep.
But it's not easy getting these finishes at this weight class, and it's scary. I just don't see a world where Almabayev is going to be able to do enough. I don't think he's going to put Manel Kape away, and that's asking a lot for him to win 3 out of 5 rounds just with his grappling upside.
Sure.
I just think Manel Kape's going to be too much for him on the feet. I think he's 77% takedown defense. He will get taken down a few times in this fight over 5 rounds. I think it's inevitable. But I think he can just play it safe and then eventually get back to his feet or let the round end. And I just think he's going to be too good of a striker. So I'm going to go Manel Kape here by decision.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the total here, but like I think the short notice definitely works against a guy in a Sue who prefers to grapple. I think that explains why this line is probably a bit wider than if this was a full length. Both guys were training for this sort of fight, but it's a very different fight for Kape too, because Royval is more of a striker, scrambler, doesn't really shoot takedowns. So it's kind of a different matchup that he's got to adjust to now as well. It being 5 rounds does hurt on short notice, but I agree with you that I think the way the Makhachev fight played out and how inactive he was to separate in those moments, especially when you think those guys were like at weigh-ins chirping at each other and like they had all those theatrics around that fight to just come out and give us the most boring fight of that card in London. I'm a little worried that Kape really plays down to his competition and leaves this one very close.
I hate that, dude. I'm so glad you brought that up because I forgot to say that. He does fucking do that.
Yeah. And it's like the Bruno Silva fight, where I was most wrong was that I thought Silva was going to have some success with his takedowns. And like when you looked at those two guys next to each other, Silva was just too small. He had no wrestling success whatsoever and eventually abandoned it to try to knock his head off. But that was never going to happen against a striker in Kape that is much cleaner and much more technical than he is. And how I profile Asu is I think he's a guy that is a lot like Makhachev, but he's a much more willing striker. And I think he's much more in control of his process about mixing the different elements together. Whereas Makhachev would just shoot wildly. And sometimes he'd be on his knees. He would just randomly shoot takedowns and hope that they stuck. Asu, to me, has more of a control of his process. And that he's not a young guy. He's 31. He's got 23 pro fights. He really has come into UFC as a finished product. And they gave him a horrible matchup for him in Mateus Nicolau. Nicolau, 90% takedown defense, the very best, Matty, at flyweight with a minimum of 50 octagon minutes. And Asu was able to find a way past him. He actually dropped Nicolau. Everybody does, but he dropped him in that fight, won a round with that, and then was able to grind out another. So I actually thought the Nicolau matchup was harder for Almabayev because of Mateus's takedown D than this one is particular. I'm just a little worried about the short notice, but I like a shot at Asu here as an underdog.
Interesting. What, you like the decision?
Probably, just because like Kape is a tough guy to sub. Everyone will point to, Manel was subbed a couple of times out of UFC long time ago, but Manel knows what he's doing in the grappling. I think overwhelmingly this one's going the distance. I've got it 55.8% likely to do so. So what makes me feel really good is that if this fight does go the distance, I've got Almabayev more likely to win a decision. But if you like Kape, maybe you take him in a finish only type of market.
Yeah. I just feel like this fight's gonna disappoint. Not that the card isn't gonna disappoint, but this fight to end this card could be a really bad formula, right? For fight fans, like this could end up being a shit fight.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised at all. I'm gonna go 3 rounds to 2. Manel Kape wins by decision, but I'm not opposed to you playing the decision lay on the other side here, or the decision, not for the lay, but just in general.
I might try to fire up because FanDuel doesn't offer this, but another book does. I might try to fire up Almabayev.
The point spread?
The split.
The split. Got you.
Yeah, I imagine the point spread, he's probably actually favored to be within +5.5.
I mean, Manel Kape plus 190. Oh, no, that's by KO. Wow, is that surprise you that Manel's KO is more likely than him to win on the scorecards?
No,
I can get Manel Kape by decision at plus 210. Sign me up for that, bro.
Yeah, so that's what my model says, is that Kape's more.
Sign me up for that. And if you want Asu by decision, plus 270.
Good number.
Both of those are fine with me. I don't know why the KO is the most likely outcome.
Yeah. I just have a hard time with how Manel fought against Nicolau and Pantoja, seeing Asu ground and pound him or submit him. I have a hard time seeing Asu when what he's got to do is he's got to squeak out rounds with his grappling.
Yeah.
And it's getting tougher and tougher.
I mean, this guy's never been knocked out. And he's 21-2, and the most likely outcome is Manel Kape by knockout. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. There are people very, very high on Manel Kape, and my model's starting to get there. Like
I've been high on him. I fucking took him to be future champ, and then the very next few weeks, some BS happened. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
What was it?
He missed weight a couple
That's
fights
right.
ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he got pulled out, and
It was cooked ever since he had all those issues. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like Almabayev is, in a way, I think he's a much tougher matchup for Kape than Brandon Royval was, because Royval, you know what you're going to get. He's a junkyard dog, but not a lot of power, and I feel like Royval is a little bit chinny as well. Whereas Almabayev is a complete package, and he's a hard guy to put away. But I don't mind you liking the distance. Maybe then, Matty, we go like over 4.5 rounds, or fight goes the distance minus 134. I'm right about in line with that number if we want to go there in the safe parlay. But it feels like we had the same tenor of the fight. We just see different value sides on the decision angle, but they're both pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, you can go two. What was the other fight to go the distance? Or no, it was an under 1.5. Your fight to not go the distance.
Yeah. We had a good success a few weeks ago tying that together. I was going to do Barlow Patterson doesn't go the distance, and then this one would go the distance.
Yeah. So Barlow Patterson does not go the distance, minus 450, parlayed with Manel Kape fight to go the distance, minus 134.
Yeah.
Brings you to plus 113 if you parlay those two.
Let's
lock it in, bro.
Well, we gotta play the graphic. Mike, hit the music.
Okay.
We're literally cooking the safe parlay before we even get here. But it's done. That
was the easiest safe parlay we've ever had, bro.
I love it. And it's nice and easy to remember if you're driving around in your car. Just Danny Barlow, Sam Patterson, violence. No violence, Manel Kape, Sue Almabayev, and it'll give us something to sweat in the main event too. So Matty and I are on the same page on both of those. So I think it was a natural fit. Yeah, you're all over it. So we'll send that up. We'll make the graphic. Now, come cycle time, this could be a little bit tougher. So we gotta evaluate our options. Yeah. Because I feel like weirdly we didn't talk about a lot of subs on this card. More like long shot darts, but gonna have to see what
let's go right to a sub because we really didn't talk through many of them. And we have Sam Patterson as an option.
Yep.
We have the Brundage fight as an option in general, but I think we're probably going to skip that one as far as a sub. The Kape fight is another option. I know you like the long shot sub on that one. Oh man, I don't know, bro. I kind of see Ricardo quitting late and getting choked out. Plus 470 on that. All right, well, let's go with let's figure out the decision leg. We had 2 to 3 options here.
Yeah. Early in the show, we like Charles Johnson plus 185. Andrea Lee is plus 270.
There's also John Castaneda. No.
Could throw him in the mix, and we could also throw.
I just feel like Charles Johnson's the move, bro.
I really like CJ as well. The Andrea Lee number scares me just in case she's just showing up to retire,
100%. No, that one, that's one you put on your card, but you don't put in the cycle,
Yeah. We don't have anyone that contributes to this chat more than Dixon. Can you throw Dixon's comment up there? Because I think it is fair enough, is that Sam Patterson is a very chalky public underdog sub play.
For sure.
So it is something to consider, is that like, hey, it's either going to be him by sub or Barlow by KO, which I think is a pretty fair angle, frankly. Yeah. But
Charles Johnson by points. Let's lock that in.
Great. Let's lock that in, and it's the second fight on the card.
Plus 185.
Okay.
Charles Johnson by decision.
Yep. And then I think what we got to ask ourselves is, do you like do you potentially like the Rybovics knockout angle at 3-1? We were talking a little bit about how Haqparast hasn't really faced many hammers. Got put away by Dober a few years ago. Haven't really seen him.
Well, I got to go Cody Brundage by KO as the KO one.
I'm okay with
that. You sold me on the Esteban one, but the fact that I only have to go down to from 300 to plus 270 and I get to fade Julian Marquez's chin, I can't ignore that number. So I'm going Cody Brundage by knockout plus 270. I'm going Charles Johnson by decision plus 185. And that allows us to not have to do the craziest long shot sub because those are both plus money legs already. We just need one sub that we're semi-confident in here. We got the Ricardo Ramos versus Kape fight as an option.
Yep.
We got the Castaneda fight as an option. Actually, let me see something. Chat, let us know in the chat what you guys like for the submission leg. Put it in the comments. We're up to 2,000 people on the live stream.
Are you looking up the same thing I am? Is that I'm looking up some of Lucas Almeida's submission defense.
I'm looking at that exact fight right now.
Are you really? Wow, you and I had the same exact thought of like how does Almeida fare in some of these situations? Because Silva's a guy that he doesn't have any pro wins via submission, and he's 8-1 by submission. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's very weird.
That is really weird.
He's got Almeida has a guillotine. He has a triangle choke, arm triangle. I don't know if I can do it though. Fuck, dude. Sam Patterson's just staring at me.
We get some comments in the chat. I feel like John Castaneda sub is getting some love here. It's 6-1, but has Silva Deondrash been put away? I feel like Silva's a really good BJJ player in general.
It is a 5-rounder on Almabayev. Makes a big difference.
Right.
Castaneda. Let's take a look at Castaneda, bro. Let's take a look at the numbers on Castaneda because he is sticking out to me.
So Douglas was subbed by Rob Font guillotine back in 2017, but he really hasn't shot a takedown since. So
I wonder why. Castaneda by sub is plus 600. That's giving me Jane Silva deja vu, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the tendency.
I'm getting Silva deja vu where the number's good, but he's just not even gonna try for it. I feel like I have to go Sam Patterson, dude, even though it's a trap. I kind of want to go Kape, bro, but you're not with me on that.
Well, I mean, we do a very standard cycle parlay here.
Yeah,
I love Ramos sub in that fight. If you'd be willing to just do the fight to end by sub at plus 360, but I know that's not how we do the cycle. So
that's crazy, though. I
love that number. That's a great number, dude. I bet I even show value against it.
Wow, plus 360. I guess technically that's still a cycle. I'm still sticking with the submission. I get both guys. Should we do it?
If Matty, you're the guy who gets to write the rules on the cycle. I'm all in on that because then both of us get to root for what we think is the best angle of the fight. And if one of us is right, we still all win.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see what we got. If you call, let's see. This guy says I'm running back a 9-1 sub on Almabayev. I had Costa last week, so maybe the Z picks our sub god has spoken.
Yeah, bro, that Melky Costa one last week was so electric. It was. Yeah, I think Moicano tweeted. He's like, "Did he just give him like? What did he say?" He was so funny.
So I was all over Andre Fili. He literally got out of the guillotine attempt and then put his neck back in there.
That's exactly what Moicano said on the tweet, bro.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It just makes you question everything that you've been betting when that stuff like that happens because Andre Fili is so much better than that, and things are moving so fast. He just made a mistake.
Yeah. It happens, bro.
Dude, I'm down to build this and we send it with Brundage KO, Johnson knockout, and then we go ends by sub does. We got a ruling from Tarzan. That's the king of the jungle, right?
Yeah,
there.
Tarzan's the boss. All right, let me see what this payout looks like here.
It's a good one. It's 48-1.
Oh my god. The problem is the graphic needs space for two faces on it now, bro. That's
Can't we edit two faces in there, like small, like make them smaller and have both faces up there,
yeah.
and then just have Ramos Mariscal ends by submission. We'll move the graphic around.
All right, hold on. Let me go one last look through the card real quick.
Okay. Now I was going to bring this up. This is speaking of John Silva throwback. Mario Pinto by sub with Lane Wrestling so much is plus 850.
Oh,
now
that's talking to me like the Melchicasta one right there.
I got to be honest with you. After we were going to get off here, I was probably going to play that like for like a 10th of a minute or something, just because we talked about. I think that's going to be Lane's approach, and I feel like Pinto is a pretty well.
Hold on, bro. I need to see this motherfucker sub someone. Is it on YouTube?
We're gonna have Matty watch film live. Yeah, so Pinto.
We're watching film live, bro. I don't care. I need to see this shit. The problem is I don't have my iPad with me, which has Fight Pass on it, but I don't think it's on that anyways. This video literally says Mario Pinto makes his debut. His submission game is crazy.
Really?
Hold on. I gotta see this shit, bro. Hold on. Let me see if I can play it for everyone. I'll just. So it's definitely a club and sub. No.
Oh, Matty, I think I found the fight on YouTube. I will confirm.
I just found it and it was a KO. What's this guy talking about? I clicked on it must be the wrong one.
I think I found it, and I might put it in chat for everyone. I'm fast forwarding to the end to double check and make sure.
Go ahead. Bro,
I see a KO too. Oh no, wait. What's going on? It might be a club and sub situation. We'll see here.
No, you're looking at the wrong one. I did the same thing. I don't
think
this
is the one listed on Tapology as a sub.
Oh wait, hold on. I found a highlight clip. I should be able to find it here. I just want to see what it looks like. You know, is it natural? Does it look natural?
Hey, okay, it is a sub. It is a sub. Okay, it is the most pathetic looking rear naked choke of all time, but there is
you
want me to send it to you, bro?
That's exactly what I didn't want to hear.
I just sent it to you, but honestly, the squeeze looked good. I just sent it to you, Matty. If you want to take a look, this is horrible YouTube.
I'm on his highlights tape. He's fighting a roided out motherfucker, bro.
Watch the fight I sent you. He wins by rear naked choke. He gets it was a quick back take. That's all I'll say.
All right. Where did you send it?
In our Telegram.
Okay. Let me see this shit.
Maybe Mike we might go against copyright infringement or something. Maybe Mike could throw it up there for everybody.
Mike, help me out here. I can't see nothing.
Oh, he is throwing it up there, dude. He is throwing it up there.
Yeah, but I can't see. I lost my TV.
Oh.
Mike.
Everybody at home can see this right now except Matty.
Okay. Mike. What just happened? What happened to my screen, bro?
We got the producer in here live, fixing everything as he always does.
What happened? I got to see this shit.
He's playing it.
He's running it back right now. I got to see this shit.
We are watching tape with you guys live on air. This is quite the experience. Here we go. Ready, Matty? Watch this.
There you go.
So he gets his back. Doesn't even have the hooks in.
Right.
Slams him back down to the canvas. On his back. One arm. And it's over. He taps right on his back. He didn't even have his hooks in.
I don't even think I would have tapped that fast, bro. That was crazy.
You have beard. You and I have beards to protect each other.
Why is plus 850? Why is this shit only 8 to 1?
Can I propose to you? Austin Lane might be just that bad at jiu-jitsu. It's a possibility. He was playing football less than a decade ago. I'll leave it up to you, man. I just don't think it's a good card for a sub.
Yeah. No, I can't take him by sub at plus 850. That's crazy.
You'd hope for double digits, like 10 to 1, 12 to 1.
Yeah, no, that's just crazy, bro. What about this Andrea Lee JJ Aldridge fight?
Has Aldridge ever been sub? Didn't Blanchfield get her? Am I remembering that right?
I think she TKO'd her on the ground. I'm not sure. I gotta look.
Andrea Lee by sub is such a nutty take. I've got it plus 1,300, so let's see what it comes in at. It's plus 1,200, so it's in a similar area. But I don't have any submission equity for Aldridge. 0 UFC wins by sub, 0 attempts. So.
Yeah. Interesting. I saw someone said Hyder Amil by sub at 15 to 1.
Yeah, I wish the tendency was there. I bet against Gomis sub a couple times in a row. I really wish that the tendency was there.
Yeah. Damn, Almabayev sub is 12 to 1.
Whoa, that's a great number on FanDuel.
That's a crazy number, bro. After I just raved about Manel Kape.
So I've got Almabayev sub plus 600. Plus 65 on the dot.
That's a crazy number, bro.
Small cage is good.
Don't forget we're in a small cage. Great.
Small cage is a good point.
It's a good point. Damn, dude, am I really gonna play Almabayev sub? You guys gonna do that to me?
I'm jiggy with it. I already got money line and I'm malleable on decision or sub here.
Yeah. Patterson and Almabayev. The thing with Almabayev is I don't see him getting caught the way that Patterson could. So and then you have 5 rounds to get it done.
Yeah.
Andrea Lee subbed Shevchenko. Oh yeah.
I was hoping for a little better number on Andrea since she's a dog, but I think it's possible that she gets something off her back. It's not impossible, but it's also do we want to throw that? I'd almost rather go Pinto than Lee, I think, at that point, but we just saw Mario Pinto's traffic.
I'd rather get Pinto than Lee too, bro. All right, guys, I'm not making a decision right now.
Okay.
I'm not forcing it. You guys saw the first 2 legs. It's going to come down to the 3rd leg. We're 100% doing a cycle parlay. So anyone in the comments that says, oh, don't force it. Nah, fuck that. We're doing a cycle A. We do one every single card. You guys, there's no gun to your head saying to tail it. You don't have to pick it. You don't have to bet it. But I'm 100% doing one. We got Cody Brundage by KO. We got decision. We have Charles Johnson by decision. He keeps doing it. He's going to keep on doing it. And we will let you guys know what my submission leg comes out to, or what I end up taking on the submission one.
Some half-hearted options, but hey, Matty, I'm gonna plug your Friday show, Long Shots Only, because if you want to find out my model cycle parlay, my favorite decision sub and KO on the card, I'm now giving that out on Fridays on Matty and Hayjime's Long Shots Only show here, same YouTube channel. It's a fun show. You guys in the comments can call in and give out your favorite long shot parlay if you want. Fun idea, and I appreciate those guys doing that on Friday, and I have fun tuning in as well. So my model cycle parlay, I'm gonna give that out, Matty, tomorrow. Okay.
Perfect.
So that way I can kind of edge everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate you watching film with us here at the end. 12 fights from the Apex. It should be a good one. I'm Austin Swaim. My stuff on FanDuel Research, FanDuel.com/research/UFC. You know the man, MattyBetss with 2 S's. Follow him on X, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can find the man. And he'll have his cycle parlay and full card this weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We got a pay-per-view next week. We got Alex Poetzon Pereira back in action, UFC 313, right? I think I got my numbers mixed up, but Pereira and Ankalaev go to war. We will see you again for that show, guys. But until next time, stay jiggy and hope all your bets cash.
We're going to go one guy by decision, one guy by knockout, one guy by submission. We're going Ismail by decision.
For the winner, Ismail!
Jeff Neal by knockout. Hamza by sub.
He goes for the neck! He's down!
I love Bo by points this week. I love it. It's my favorite prop. I like span sub.
He's got it. Neck tight. He got the tap.
I like Pantoja by rear naked choke. Give me Bryce Mitchell inside the distance.
I just bet it, bro. I put it in right now.
And I think round 1, 2 plus 135 is a good number.